Chapter 8. Chapter 8, budgets. In the chapter, we shall look at the purpose of budgets. We shall look at how to prepare a budget. We will see how we can evaluate how well business is doing by comparing actual results to the budget. So we look at variances. We'll look at the use of flexible budgets. Variances. Interdependent. What's the plan? Without a plan, the business could not anticipate how much raw materials to buy. Expected. And expenditure. Most budgets will show an estimate of sales for both volume and revenue. Estimate of sales for both volume, the number of units sold, and revenue, the amount of income generated from sales. Budgets will also show the quantity and expected cost of direct materials which are needed in order to achieve the estimated sales. The budget will show the expected number of direct labour hours, which is the expected cost of overheads. Expected profit. Revenue. Direct. Right. Purpose of budgets, used for several reasons. Control. Costs can get out of control if there's no budget, so we decide to make and sell a new product. We could make some to start with, but we don't know how many. How much raw material should we buy? How much should we pay for this raw material? How many staff will we need? You can probably see that without a budget we would find it hard to set up the selling price. Buy all these costs in advance. How? Communicate plans. In all its small manufacturing business, there will be a large number of people involved in manufacturing goods. To know how much he's looking for in buying materials. The production manager will want to know how many items he must manufacture in a given period. So basically, for everybody to know what's happening. Motivation. A budget should be set with realistic targets. If the sales volume is to increase by, say, 50% over the next year, but achieved with increased effort from the sales team. However, the budget shows that sales are expected to rise 500% over the next year. As there is good reason for this, it's an unrealistic target. Won't even try because they know it's unattainable. The well-prepared budget managers can be motivated to do better. Evaluation. The business will want to know how well or otherwise it's doing. Standard against which to measure its achievements. Most businesses will compare their budgets with actual figures to see how well they have done. Planning and decision making. Budgets can be used to see the effect of different sales levels or the effect of using different materials. When it's discontinued before it becomes a drain on the business's profits. Budgets for different parts of the business rather than just one overall budget. This may be an area of the business, a single product. Preparing a budget. In order to prepare a budget, a business will need to collect certain estimates. Sales volume. This is probably the most difficult item to predict. A thorough knowledge of the market is needed. The size of the market and spending habits should be estimated, as well as the level of competition. Price will also be a factor. Is it more or less expensive than the competition? Talking to customers is also a good gauge on how well the product will do. It's not just whether the customer likes the product, it's whether the customer will pay the selling price and will buy the goods in sufficient volume. A lot can be learned from other businesses, but they probably won't want to share this information. A lot can be learned from online statistics. For example, it's easy to find room occupancy rates online for hotels and bed and breakfast accommodation. Market research. Sales revenue. So that's volume times sales price. Direct materials. We need to know what materials are needed. Once a business knows how much materials are needed, it can set about finding the best deals. Most suppliers will give some kind of discount for buying in bulk. Prices can be found in catalogues or online, but before business commits to a certain price, it should see how much discount the supplier will offer for regular or large orders. We've then got direct labour. This will be calculated by estimating the number of hours required for the expected sales volume. This will need an estimate of how long it will take to manufacture the goods. So the number of staff required, the skill level required will determine the hourly rate. So pay rises should be considered. Increase in the national minimum wage. Business will also need to consider if it is cheaper to pay staff overtime or hire more workers. How many staff? Hourly rate. Variable overheads. Variables may include delivery costs, both from the supplier and the customer. Indirect costs, just fuel or power for the production machines, packaging that hasn't already been included in the direct materials, quality control costs, material purchasing costs, and selling costs. And then fixed overheads. That's things like rent, rates, insurance, depreciation, directors' remuneration, and office costs. But should be prepared in any way the business wishes. Many budgets will show a standard cost per unit as well as an overall budget. When this is done, a contribution is shown. The contribution is selling price less variable cost. Cost per unit. Contribution is shown. Selling price less variable costs. Let's now look at how the budget may actually be prepared by looking at the following example. I don't actually remember any of that. Marginal absorption costing. Variable costs, contribution. Gosh, I don't remember any of what I said before. Let's now look at how the budget may actually be prepared by looking at the following example. Capona Limited makes the look room. Capona Limited has prepared the following estimated costs for the next financial year. Sales volume, that many units. Sales revenue, that much. Direct materials, direct labour, variable overheads, fixed overheads. This information budget can be prepared. Selling price per unit. Less variable costs per unit. Right, so we've got the direct materials. Is that much? That divided by that. Direct labour, that divided by that. Variable overheads. Contribution per unit. Is that much? Sales volume is that much. Total contribution. Less fixed costs. Less the fixed costs is that much. Budget profits that much. Notice how unit selling price and unit costs have been prepared to produce a contribution per unit as well as cost and budgeted overall profit. Managers want to know what is expected in total as well as the effect of any increase or decrease in volume. The fixed costs will not increase with a change in volume, but total variable costs will. We saw earlier in this chapter that budgeted costs may be compared with actual costs. The difference from just variances. For as well as knowing how much the actual varied from the budget, we also need to know whether this was better or worse than the budget. The variance shows that the actual figure is better than the budget. Better than budget. Adverse is worse than budget. You should be careful not simply to say that if the budget figure is higher, it is a favorable, it's better for the business. Higher actual figure for sales volume is good for the business, so it will be favourable. However, the actual figure for direct materials is higher, and so will be the variance. Yeah. If variance should be investigated, you need to know why variance occurred. If you don't know why, then it could happen again and again. It may be that the price of raw materials has gone up or a new process is using more raw materials than expected. You will also need to investigate favorable variances as well as adverse ones. A favorable material variance may be due to cheaper material prices. Materials are of inferior quality, and the finished product may be of inferior quality. How many more pages do I have to go? I am already bored. Okay. A business will not always investigate all variances. If the variance is insignificant in value, then it may cost more to investigate it than the value of the variance. What is insignificant will vary from business to business. For example, if actual direct labour costs are $250,000, then it would be efficient to investigate a labour variance. It would not be efficient to £500. If direct labour costs are $2,000, it may well be necessary to investigate £500. This is known as management by exception. Managers will set a tolerance level. By their very nature, budgets are rarely 100% accurate, so businesses may set a tolerance level of say 5%. This means that if the actual figure is different to the budget figure by 5%, the budget figure or less than, it will be insignificant, will not need investigating. Variances will be calculated for sales volume, sales revenue, direct materials, direct labour, overheads and profit. For example, table below shows the budgeted figures alongside the actual figures. The difference between the figures is shown as the variance. If it's better than expected, then it's a favourable variance. If it's worse, then it's adverse. The variance is never shown as a negative figure. The fact this positive or negative doesn't show whether it's favourable or adverse. Its effect on the business determines this. Sales volume, 5,000. That's favourable. Sales revenue. It's higher, so it's favourable. It's higher, adverse. Higher, adverse. Overheads, higher, adverse. Profit. It's higher, so favourable. This method of calculation variance is sufficient if only want to know the end profit figure matches your expectation, but the problem is that the variances are all due to the difference in sales volume. It should be obvious to managers that where there's increased volume of sales, the sales revenue will go up and costs will be adverse variances. There'll be more revenue from more sales and there'll be more direct materials as a result of increased sales. The table doesn't show us anything more than what we already know, that increased sales volume is likely to result in adverse costs and favourable sales and profit. Now look at the method of getting around this problem. Okay, makes sense. Flexible budgets. Flexible budgets are budgets which are altered to show what they would have looked like had the actual sales volume been used. Let's take the example above and flex it to show the budget figures, but for a sales volume of 2,500. As we should find the unit costs in the budget and apply the actual sales volume. Take the example of the budgeted sales volume. You'll find a budgeted selling price per unit. So price per unit taken from the budget now let's apply it to the 2000. So let's look at the Derek Mills. Flexible. Yeah, that makes sense. Using a flexible budget is a much more useful way of evaluating performance. We are measuring like with like. If you compare the two tables showing the variances, the first table with the fixed budget says the business is doing well with a higher than expected profit. This is true, but only because of higher sales. If we compare the like sales, then the picture is different. The performance isn't as good as we had expected. Useful. Just make sure you understand what each of the budgets, fixed and flexible, is showing. The fixed budget shows the actual picture. A profit was made and it was higher than expected. The flexible budget shows how the business has performed. The adverse profit figure is not a loss, but the profit isn't as large as we would have expected from an equivalent sales volume. Fixed and flexible budgets are both useful to managers. The fixed budget shows what costs are expected, and the variance will show how much has been overspent or how much money has been saved. Flexible budget show how well the resource has been used. And only variable costs. Fixed costs don't change with volume, and so the flexible budget's fixed costs will be the same as the original budget's fixed costs. Same with fixed costs. Blah 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 blah. Be this. So combine the fixed budget with actual costs. Budget. Right. So we haven't made as many sales. The sales revenue is worse. Direct costs are lower. Direct labour is lower. Variable overheads is lower. Fixed overheads are higher. The profit is lower. And the profit less profit than let's look at the figures using a flex budget. So we reshow everything. Fixed stays the same. So we have got the sales revenue, we're doing better than expected. That was less than expected. That was less than expected. That stays the same. So overall, compared to the budget, actual number of units sold, business had done better than anticipated. Yeah. Analysing variances. When variances are calculated, they should usually be investigated. However, we've seen already that small and significant variances may cost more in time and effort than the variance itself. It'll only be set by the company showing what the variances. So it's not be investigated. It'll often be variance, which is within a set percentage of the budget. Example of business with Tom's loss 5%. If the variance is 2,000 and the budget is 50,000, calculation of percentage. There, the variance will not be investigated. Budget is should be investigated. It's important to ensure that the right person investigates the variance. A purchases manager will have little control of factor rent for the reasons variance you won't be able to put right and control will be lost. While each case are different, there are some reasons we get out. Sales variance, sales revenue variances. There are limited reasons for sales revenue variance. It can only be due to either price or volume. and selling price or volume. Or volume or in discounts over time. We've got direct, favorable, we've got change of supplier offering lower price. More discount. Wastage. Cheaper materials. Change in production. Increase in price, stock, quality. More wastage. Theft. Favorable. Cheaper labor. Less overtime. Adverse could be more skilled workers. Overtime in work practices. Increase in minimum wage. Fixed overhead variances. Lower energy prices. Business rates. Adverse. Higher energy stroke. Insurance costs. Equipment. Higher depreciation charges. Higher storage costs. Maybe able to add more. The directors may also want ideas on how to resolve the problems. It may save money to change supplier. Continue working on the price. So own resource resolutions. Also important that the interrelationship of some variances. It's no use suggesting buying too much else. The result is more waste product. The table shows some common interrelated variances. Increase the selling price may result in lower sales volume. Buying cheaper raw materials may result in more wastage, may result in higher labour costs due to more processing time required. Lower creative labour use, more time required in production by using less skilled workers, reduced number of staff, more overtime required. Buying new machinery to improve efficiency may result in higher depreciation charges. Keep older machinery, reach raw material, more time required in production. So yeah, important to manage. Variance analysis to be effective must be reported to managers and directors. Simply going to the director's office and telling them that there is or isn't a problem is rarely sufficient. The directors will need a document so that the findings can be discussed in private amongst themselves. This document usually takes the form of a report or a formal structure and careful planning. Should my clear, concise language. Extended formal report may cover several pages, but for this you may need to write an informal report. For writing a report, you should identify the reason you're writing the report and the type of presentation you'll use. You must bear in mind why you're writing it. Put yourself in their position. What do you need to know? The point made by managing director, in which case all variances and their possible costs will need to be included. Which badger? Look at only what he or she can act. An essay's report are designed to provide information which will be acted upon rather than read because readers are simply interested in the topic. The report should be easy to read, clear and concise. You should use short sentences and avoid unnecessary jargon. Don't confuse conciseness with brevity. The report may be brief because it omits important information. A concise report, on the other hand, is short but still contains all the important information. Reports should be written in the passive voice. I suggest is the active voice. It is just as passive voice. Avoid naming names where possible. The account assistant is better than Jane Smith. It's important informal report where it may be just one or two people who have requested the report and who will be looking at the report. Visualize and put those words. Some words just stunning, exciting, fantastic, all objective. The only words and messages basic actually in the course of my messages all add nothing to the meaning of the sentence and only succeed in making the report less concise. If you actually use will not and not won't at time. Circuit sections are what we're concerned with in this unit. Just for these sections. Report writing. Concise. Not names. Set add bulk. Or slang. Sections. Title and date. Intro. Finding stock. Discussion. Conclusion. A report must always have a title. This may simply be what the report is about at the top of the page, along with two. The two is usually the person who requests the report and the formerly person with the report. answer what, when, who, and by when. So show the information you've gathered and deal with the points requested. For example, may not be appropriate for the production manager, or some manager will skim the report, so it may not be read in a linear way. With good grammar and spelling, the person reading the report may want to pick out the salient points quickly and easily. Subheadings could be used to pick out each point required, similar to the used in the book. If information has been gathered from other sources, it is important to name the source. Aid. Name. Sources. Okay, set out in the most appropriate way a new paragraph for each point or subheading. A table or chart may be better on one account. Helpful. Conclusion recommendation section. This section isn't always required. You shouldn't give personal opinions or recommendations. If you're starting the finance report, you should never bring new information to this video. Leave space between paragraphs. Paragraphs should be short and concise. A business's financial plan called budget. Budgets are used for control to communicate plans, motivation, evaluation, and planning decision making. Many businesses will prepare budget by collecting and estimating sales volume and costs. May prepare budgets and also prepare standard cost per unit. It's done as probable contribution per unit. The work is calculated. Business will compare actual performance with budget performance by calculating variances. Differences in the budget due to differences in sales. Flexible or flex budget can be prepared. Managers will not only any variance, but also possible reasons for variance. Variance will usually be reported by to managers and directors in a report. Alrighty.